Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the CSU-UC Event Professionals Network's Hot Topic for September 2025. I am Monica Dahl. I'm the Director of University Events at Stanislaus State, and I'll be emceeing our meeting this afternoon. Today's hot topic is seasonal sizzle, what's trending in fall catering. So today we'll hear tips, tricks, and trends on what's hot, new, and cool in catering this fall. We will have a question and answer session. So if you have questions throughout the presentation, put them in the chat and we'll save them for that portion of our program. That will help us stay organized and stay on track for the presenters. We're also pleased to have with us today our Chartwells catering teams from both Monterey Bay and Stanislaus State. Let's begin by welcoming Angelo Casiano, the marketing director. He graduated from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and Angelo began his hospitality career with Chartwells Higher Education at UAF, serving as a barista manager and front of house manager before moving into the role of marketing director. In that role, he has and continues to lead marketing and guest experience at the University of Nevada, Reno and Cal State Monterey Bay. He also supports other Chartwells campuses, including Boise State, Seattle University, and Sheridan College. Angelo loves staying active and trying new foods, cooking with friends, and spending time around the table with a good board game. Welcome, Angelo.
Thank you so much, Monica. And it is an absolute pleasure being here. Thank you, everyone. We can go into next slide.
We're going to introduce our rest of our colleagues. If that's
okay, yes, Angelo. Perfect, good.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. So next, please welcome our chef, Edwin Eliazad. And he is our chef here at Stanislaus State. And he has over 20 years of experience in fine dining, catering, and weddings. His focus is on developing strong working relationship with university advancement, as well as the events team. It is his goal to work closely with clients to ensure that expectations are met and events are successful. He also loves serving the Stan State community and sharing his vast culinary knowledge. Thank you, Chef.
Good morning.
And also from our Chartwells Stanislaus State team, please give a warm welcome to Danielle Vegas. She is our dining services manager, and Danielle has worked with Chartwells for over 11 years. Prior to working with Chartwells, Danielle was a catering manager outside of higher education, and she's focused on relationships and customer service. Thanks for joining us today, Danielle.
Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome. And we saved the best for last. So please say hello to Charisse Robinson. She's the director of catering. Charisse has over 7 years experience in the hospitality industry and brings a strong background in both catering and fine dining, as well as a passion for coordinating events and ensuring seamless guest experiences. She's moved up in Chartwells very quickly and after spending 5 years in upscale dining facilities. That is where she developed and honed her expertise in customer service, food presentation, and high volume operations. She is a proud graduate of the University of Oregon, and she's committed to attention to detail, organization, and excellence above all else. Thank you, Charisse.
Thanks, Monica.
So without any more delays, I'll hand it back over to Angelo, and he will take it away.
Thank you. So again, hello, everyone, and thank you all so much. I have the pleasure of representing our amazing catering team. I have been working with our catering departments for quite some time now at various universities. And again, every university is different. We have different requests, different tastes, different cuisine styles. So I'm very excited to be talking about the theme of today is what is trending in catering overall. And so I look forward to kind of going through this. I do kind of want to back up and just saying that, you know, through my years, particularly going through the COVID time, which I will not ignore because we went through it, and how catering has kind of changed and adjusted since then, especially, you know, with our client relationships and how that has really helped us pull through those very difficult periods. You know, where there was staffing shortages or where there was product shortages and everything going on. So it's really with the relationship of each of our universities that we've been able to succeed in servicing the students and those in our community. So it is an absolute pleasure to be able to speak to that. Some of my team members, of course, are not here. I would love to be able to introduce our own catering director, but they have a pretty full day today. But again, I'm very excited to be here. Next slide. So for those that maybe don't have Chartwells in your accounts or are not fully aware, I did want to just start with just the basics of what our culinary core is. Again, during COVID, quite a few things had happened, quite a few things had changed as far as supply chain shortages and things like that. So, but this is our commitment, and these are what you're going to be seeing reflected, especially when it comes to the menu design that we do for catering. Again, we cook from scratch, and we are really passionate about that first piece there. We menu by season, we source responsibly, we are allergen friendly, and we are additive free. And you'll see that again reflected at our menu design. Again, I don't speak for every single account and for each individual contract. Again, there's a lot of nuances and things like that. But again, that is the core of the Chartwell's message from a culinary perspective. Next slide. And again, for those that are not fully aware of Chartwells, in addition to what I would call the full service catering model that we have, Chartwells does have some subsectors of catering menus that we have either developed because of either demand from our clients or what we're just noticing as an empty kind of market in particular areas. And so just to kind of touch on a few of them that we do have, these are the main four. Mingo and Nosh, this is kind of a shareable style menu. We've more noticed it adopted by student groups, simply because it's kind of the shareable aspect to it. But then in addition, it allows kind of for the student groups to have a more budget friendly, no frills kind of catering option, which oftentimes we see them going for. It was a newer kind of catering that I think came out about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's been actually very popular. Student catering, so we designed this specific for student groups, and it's for most campuses, it is exclusive to student groups, providing another no frills catering option. But this one usually offers more of those theme buffets, not so much on the shareable side. And sometimes it's just things like pizza, which it seems like student groups, that's sometimes the number one thing that they're ordering is pizza. We've been offering some newer options, but for our particular campus, they really love taco bars, they love nacho bars and things like that. So it provides some of those popular items, but again, at that no frills kind of catering option. Something newer that was on our portfolio a couple of years ago was our wedding catering. There was an increased demand, particularly of weddings that were either happening on campuses, but weddings in the actual local area. And so we did develop a wedding catering and a wedding catering lookbook to be able to support that kind of clientele. And then the last is our casual catering. This is our full no frills catering, mostly used by faculty and staff groups. Typically, this service in campuses is a pickup service, but we do also offer it as delivery, particularly on our campus. It is a limited menu. It allows us to be able to bust this menu out very quickly within, a 2 to 3 day kind of order turnaround time. But it does offer some really good options, particularly during budget cut season, as it seems to be this last particular year. So these are again some of the subsectors that we have for our catering menus, and there are more to come. Next slide, please. So specific to trends, I am a data person. I love the numbers. It's kind of the core of my role, and so I do pull some of the numbers that we have. Chartwells is passionate on collecting data. We have internal teams that we have national contracts that we're able to pull a lot of this data from, but also our partnerships to be able to make the decisions for why we're creating menus the way that we are. We're not just pulling them out of anywhere. We actually use a lot of the guest input that we're receiving, a lot of the sales trends, a lot of the forecast when we're designing menus. And so the first piece there is that students feel more connected when food is provided during the events, and that's at 81%. And that was a recent, all of these surveys were done at universitybusiness.com is where they were displayed. The second were students attend optional events if food is offered versus 74% of staff. So again, 82% students, and that makes sense. We see that definitely here on campus that when food is not offered during an event, the attendance typically does see a drop. And then 87% of faculty and staff say that food fosters connection. 86% says that it drives attendance. So again, this is kind of the core of why food matters. It's kind of building that community, but it's also helping to secure attendance in these events, and really helping us drive what our common goal is for these particular events. Next slide. what hosts want. We pull surveys, we send a lot of information, and we collect a lot of it from a national level so that we can ensure that we're hearing what hosts are saying. The three top things that I hear, particularly this last year, these are the top three. Again, dietary accommodations and clear labeling. That's been a huge hot topic from the corporate level, particularly for the clear labeling piece. And I'll kind of back up there that, pre-COVID, our standard was that we did not want to go into the route of labeling specific allergies, mainly because we didn't know which ones, I guess. There's so many potential and sometimes conflicting allergies out there, whether someone has a nut allergy or whether someone's vegan and requires a high kind of nut type of diet. And so, because of that, about how we're kind of trending, we've been really looking at solutions for how we can satisfy clientele, how we can make sure that we're being responsible from a labeling perspective, and how we can make sure that we're guiding our host on making dietary accommodations the standard whenever it comes to designing these menus. And it really, really helps. And we have great hosts here on this campus where, before they even get to us, they're like, hey, I already have this list of people. I already got the list of dietary restrictions that we have. These are some of their accommodations. And then we really enjoy working and making those adjustments to the menu as needed. The second big hot topic that I hear is budget consciousness. How do we balance creativity with affordability? Brenda here, our catering director here, does a great job of meeting with each of our hosts and really helping them understand, what can we do with the budget? We understand that sometimes, especially with either budget cuts or just being more conscious, how can we direct this? And sometimes it's not even just the food portion itself. We've also noticed sometimes it's also the service. For example, we've noticed that for buffet service, how can we control portion size when you don't have servers or server labor? And sometimes it actually saves a lot along the way when you pay for a server versus allowing just an open-end kind of buffet. So allowing our catering experts to be able to guide our host into, what makes sense for this particular business model, because we also have the common goal of making sure that we're meeting your budget and that we are also being fiscally responsible as well. And then the third that we hear a lot is culture and diversity reflected in the menus. How can we tell the food story and how can we support a lot of our campus's goals for diversity and inclusion from a culinary standpoint? Next slide. So some more stats and numbers I'd like to bring up. First, athletic performance meals saw an increase by 61%. And these are going to be high protein, very dense carbs, and very healthy carbs. Everything from plant-based or plant-forward meals and menus. For those campuses that have probably a larger athletic department, then we also have seen a huge push in those athletic departments purchasing catering and making sure that they're supporting those students, especially pre-game. So we've seen a dramatic increase in that. This one is more of kind of a reminder that both Gen Z and millennials are inspired to try recipes on TikTok and on Instagram. Again, everyone is really on those channels. And it's kind of just a reminder for us that as we're looking and as we're developing and trying to see what is trending, our customers and our guests, whether they're faculty, staff, or whether they're students, they're really inspired by what is currently on there. And we're seeing even more people using those recipes. So sometimes it's just a good idea to just hop on there and see what is trending and what is something that we can try. Top requested national items that we've seen on some recent surveys: smoothies. Smoothies are huge, particularly from a catering. You're going to see beverage forward very, very, very loud in a lot of our surveys. Pho and ramen, this was a particular hit on this particular campus. Mexican food is never going to die away. I think that I've seen that for the last 8 years that I've been with Chartwells. Mexican has definitely been on the top tier of requests. Mac and cheese, this one rose the ranks. Mac and cheese bars and things like that, the students are really, really craving, and that we're also seeing faculty and staff want to see that more on the catering menus. And then sushi, for those that do have either sushi partnerships, we, for example, have Wild Blue and AFC. I've seen some campuses that have been able to partner with those sushi vendors to offer sushi catering as well. Beverage programs like boba can drive 60% of afternoon business, and I am seeing this increase. I think I've seen more boba requests on this campus than I think I ever have, and particularly when we got our Wild Blue partners here on the campus as well. I think just 2 weeks ago we had a group of 60 just for kind of a boba afternoon delight. And so beverage programs, don't sleep on them. They're growing in trend. Comfort food with a global twist has been the main theme, and this has been just overall, particularly in the last year. You're seeing things like the burrito, ramen, and some of those like fusion type of dishes, and we're getting more requests and more of that drive that they want to try these new things, that they want to be able to show that off during a particular catering event. This is not just limited to the residential dining program or to even to our retail dining program, that they want to see it at catering as well. Interactive and experiential catering is on the rise, and I'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. And then plant-based and vegan demand continues to climb, with 40% of Gen Z saying that they are reducing meat consumption. So we do see that continuing to increase, and how can catering and how can we as Chartwells help our hosts when we're directing and designing some of these menus. A lot of sources for this information is available at the complete end. I think a copy of this is going to be sent out, so you can also look at some of the articles there as well. Next slide, please. This information here, so every year Chartwells does an annual survey. For most campuses, it's called Voice Division, or it's just called Dining Survey. But this survey is really critical to not only allowing us to understand and get a pulse check every year of the campus's dining program, but it also allows us to compare from a national perspective, what are the kind of the taste and where does this campus rank among the other Chartwells campuses? From a national perspective, and then also from a division. For example, we have our California division. I bring all three here. So this is from our 2024 survey. For those that are as part of a Chartwells account, the next survey will be launching on October the 1st. So if you haven't heard of it yet, it will be coming soon. And we really, really encourage everyone to take these surveys. The voice of vision in particular is a really big piece that helps us make decisions for menu execution and menu design, even from a catering perspective. You'll notice there's some consistency here as far as the top three options. So again, you're going to see the smoothies, you see Mexican, and you see pho and ramen. I wanted to show the example of how at CSU-UB here, pho and ramen was by far the top request of students here. They really, really wanted it here. Whereas you can see from a national perspective, smoothies, and even a California perspective, smoothies is a huge thing. And again, is that kind of an indicator that, for those catering departments that do not have smoothies regularly on their menu, is that something that we can start driving and really ensuring that we're supporting our clientele? For us, Mexican is number two. It used to be number one, but pho and ramen made a rise. And then, of course, smoothies for us is number three. Sushi is, again, still in there as well. You're going to see that we receive a lot of requests this particular year for breakfast all day. Students and even faculty and staff, they don't want breakfast to be limited just to the breakfast time. We even get faculty and staff that will order breakfast items during a dinner catering event and things like that. So how can we offer some of those late night brunch kind of vibes? Korean fried chicken took a huge rise this particular year as well. We recently added it to our menus and it's become super popular. So again, how we design some of our menus, a lot of it is based on the data that we've been able to pull, as well as just looking at some of these studies. And so this is kind of a snapshot of what we've been noticing so far and kind of what those cuisine preferences are. Next slide. We had the pleasure of launching our new catering menu as of this semester. I'm very excited. We were able to have a new menu with 50 brand new items on the menu that our chefs were able to really review. I kind of want to start by saying that, so this is, again, a corporate menu, but it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of approach. And again, the data that I pulled in that last one kind of shows why, that every campus has particular wants, particular needs, particular demographics, particular taste. And it does change over, the course of where the campus is, and also over time. Sometimes the same demographic isn't here year over year. So this is why we really take data constantly to make sure that we're staying up to date as much as possible. But the menu that we had designed was really based on a lot of the feedback that we received. You see some of the new menu options here, a bagel and lox bar, which completely took off when we launched that. Again, we added a Korean fried chicken bar to our catering menu that has completely popped off. The ramen bar, logistically, it was a bit difficult to make sure that we had all the small wares because, again, like once ramen sits out for a while, it's not good. So it's like, the fresh ramen type of perspective, but ramen bar has been very, very popular. We've been able to add more vegan options just naturally on our menu. For example, vegan tiramisu, vegan mochi, and some options like that. So we had a very exciting time to be able to launch this brand new menu. Next slide. In addition to the menu, we also launch limited time offers. We typically do this every month. This is a way to, again, stay up with the trends. Our culinarians, our chefs are the experts on what is in season. From a sourcing perspective, what can we get here? From a pricing perspective, what is going to, make sure that your dollar really expends as much as possible. So this is where they really come in. Some campuses, they also add some more custom options. This is just from more of a corporate level of what some of those typical limited time offers are for the fall semester. Some of the popular ones that you're going to see are the botanical lemonades that happened just this past or in this month, September. Upcoming ones like What's the Dilla is a quesadilla based limited time offer. Again, Mexican food, very, very popular, particularly for student groups. We've seen quite a few orders just for that. In November, the Foods with a Twist, that one was really showcasing kind of what you can do with the leftovers of Thanksgiving and how sometimes that can be even better sometimes in the Thanksgiving meal itself. So it was really showcasing some of the holiday kind of tradition, but also some of the culinary expertise of what you can do with that. Um, Holiday snack boards and the flight of the sweets, again, very popular during the December time. Recently, we launched pop-ups. And again, those are just some items that we do throughout campus. We literally just pop up and we'll showcase, like the Cajun fruit cups were a really big hit here at the CSU-UC campus. And so for some groups that maybe it's not a particular organized event at a particular location, maybe it's sometimes a group that just wants a table outside and maybe it's just to help elevate that particular tabling event. We also will do pop-up catering too with them. Next slide. Some top takeaways that I think from my expertise and also from working with our catering teams, consider interaction. For those that know Chartwells, we do love doing residential events. You're going to see the teaching kitchens, the do-it-yourself, the meet the makers. We do our surprise and delights, our themed menus and things like that. We're seeing more and more requests that our faculty, staff, and student groups want to take those events into their catering events. And we've seen great success in that being done. And to add that interactive capability, again, that depends on whether that fits your catering event or not. But it can be a really good elevation point. Again, you will need to discuss sometimes the labor piece and especially if you're going to pull a chef to do a teaching kitchen. But we've seen great success in that piece. Following the trends, I encourage everyone to use your partnerships. And again, for us, that's Chartwells, but for whoever you can, use your partnerships. Our chefs, our culinarians are the experts in and really understanding not only from a trend perspective, but again, from a sourcing perspective. That's the other half of the battle is what is trendy and then how do we get that here on this particular campus? So using your partnerships, Chartwells is dedicated to researching trends and collecting data to support menu creation. And sometimes for those that are kind of intimidated, like, how do I know what is trendy? If you're not on Instagram, if you're not on TikTok, it's not too long and not too hard to just hop on there and just to see, what is the latest thing right now that's kind of going on. So far, I think the last thing that I saw, it was actually really intriguing. It was like a spaghetti waffle thing. I probably was the last thing that I saw, and it's not for me. But again, it might be something that some of your customers may really want to see as well. And then take our surveys. For those Chartwells accounts, another reminder that our next survey is October the 1st. If you're not a Chartwells account, again, really making sure that you collect as much data as possible to understand the specific demographic and the specific demand for your particular campus is really going to help you in the long run. And I think that is my last slide, Monica. Yep, and I will pass it on to Monica and to Chef Edwin. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, Angela. What a great presentation about what Chartwells has to offer. So we are going to transition into kind of how to have a great partnership with your catering staff and your food service staff on your campus, whether it's Chartwells or another option. And so, Sam, if you could lead us into our next slide, that would be amazing. So yes, as we've talked about, team approach matters and collaboration does set the tone for success. And so I'll defer to Chef, Charisse, and Danielle. Maybe you guys can highlight how you've come into catering here, whether you've been here for many years like Danielle, And Edwin, or whether you're new to the team like Charisse, kind of how you come in to a campus and create those partnerships.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. I'm Chef Edwin here at Stanislaus State. I've been here just over 4 years now, and I've been working. Monica and I and the team have been working all very closely together. We've had some turnover on our side over the past several years, but it hasn't seemed to really hinder what we've been doing. We. In our here on campus, I mean, we have a really nice collaboration that we've set for ourselves, right? Monica and I, and then my catering team also, right? Danielle, Charisse, and then we all work really closely together. We have the same vision, right? Everything that we do is we do for the students, right? I mean, events, they raise funds and they raise money, and it's all for the students. And so they are the heart of everything we do, the students on our campuses. I know that Chartwells is at 13 of the 23 CSUs. I don't think any of the UCs, but 13 of our CSUs. I know that Chartwells runs dining services at. And so, I mean, we have from time to time things come up, big opportunities to really like enjoy and have a good time with the events that we have. Monica has, advancement and events. They have these standing events, ongoing quarterly, monthly, and we get the opportunity based on the season and the time of year to really like showcase a lot of what the campus has to offer. Here at Stanislaus, we have the agriculture department has a sustainable garden that we use throughout the year, depending on the season. There's citrus in the winter. Autumn has the squashes, winter squashes available, and then throughout the spring and summer, there's stone fruits and vegetables, fresh herbs, tomatoes, and eggplants that we take and we implement into our menus, right? And we utilize a lot of what the ag department produces in the garden. And we've been able to build these relationships with the university campus and the community, and it just kind of builds trust and long-term partnership. And it goes a long ways for us, and it's a very you know it brings value to what we do. And it means it goes a long ways for us.
Yeah, thank you, Chef. Teresa or Danielle, do you have anything to add to that? Chef said it all.
What I think is really neat with the agricultural department is we have the investor event coming up and we're able to use like the squash for the salad. So it's incorporating different departments with our events. And I think that's really important to acknowledge is building that connection so we can see like what's available and keeping everything local.
Definitely. And we're going to talk about our investor tour that's happening next week and how we are incorporating a lot of different of the Chartwells themes and the university to highlight what we do here and what we do well. Next slide, Sam. So yes, we're getting into our signature events to highlight. And I want to give a shout out to Tiffany Davis, our alumni director, who's on the call today in the background. And when we talk about our Vines event, that is one that benefits our alumni. And it's a signature event that we do every year, along with the Taste of the Valley. So the Taste of the Valley is an event that we do here that highlights our ag department, and we benefit their scholarship programs. And so we're going to kind of talk about each event. So Chef, do you want to talk about the Taste of the Valley?
Absolutely. Taste of the Valley is an annual fundraiser that the ag department hosts, and we've had the pleasure. I mean, in my 4 years I've been here to be a part of it every year, and the ag department works really hard to get vendors and restaurant owners and from the community to come in and display and have a booth. Everybody usually has their own table, and they all showcase something special that they have at their, whether it's their beverage establishments or their food establishments. We've had the opportunity to showcase a lot of what we do here with our carved and crafted menu. And it's just an opportunity to for the students, to raise money for the students, for the scholarships. And the ag department, I mean, they it's like it has a silent auction also that they give raise money with also. But it's a great opportunity to feature local foods and vendors from the area.
Yeah, and I will say another collaboration or partnership opportunity is we have local vendors here that make cheese and things like that. We have Hilmar cheese and we have Fiscalini cheese right in our backyard. And so Chartwells is a great partner to those people where they might donate the cheese, and then Chartwells might put together, the cheese platter or charcuterie board, highlighting our local vendors as well. So if you do a similar event on your campus, that's something to consider, when the vendor itself can't come and display their products, partner with your catering team to let them showcase their beautiful culinary skills and displaying the items that you get donated. And we have two very similar events on our campus. So we'll go to the next slide and talk about our Vines event. Again, our Vines event has been happening for years, and it benefits our alumni programming. And it's a great opportunity to, again, highlight different, and they're very different they're similar in what the style of the event is, taking samples of local vendors, et cetera. But they're, I think of our Vines event as a little bit more upscale and a nice date night where the Ag Wine and Cheese is really highlighting those students. The students are present. And again, it's another nice evening date night, but a little bit more casual. So I think, there's something for everybody on that. So do we want to talk about Vines? I know how much we love it. And maybe we could tie into a trend of doing mocktails at events. So you want to talk about how we figured that part out? Chef, do you want to talk about that?
As a matter of fact, we did do that LTO at Vines this year for the botanical lemonades, and they turned out really amazing. It was a trio, and it was the first order. And I got to give credit to Monica; she's always first to order the LTOs that we have. They rotate monthly on our carved and crafted menu, and so through Cater Tracks you can. You can search and see what they are. There's always a limited time offer available based on the time of year and the season, whether it's beverage or food or sweets. There's always something different and new that comes up. This was also an opportunity to kind of I look at these opportunities as partly the partnering and helping support the campus community, but it's also an opportunity to kind of showcase what we have to offer to the public also. That's a big deal for us. I mean, because a lot of what we do is on campus and in the campus. And so, when people from the general public come and join us, and it's kind of like an opportunity to showcase and just kind of show what's available here in the community.
And it is nice too to show a different side of Chartwells. I think of it as the food service for campus. And you're right, you get to highlight what you do outside of just serving the students. And we've got comments from this event in the past that parents come and they're like, wow, my kids get to eat this. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, we have great food on this campus. And it also is an opportunity for you to highlight things you can do outside of the standard menu, maybe for some of your catering clients. Because at Vines particularly, we have a lot of faculty staff that come and enjoy that event, a lot of alumni work on our campus. So it also gives you a great marketing opportunity for clients that maybe don't order as much catering because they don't know what you could do. So you get to show off a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. That scratch kitchen piece comes into play here, and so that's a really big part of the value of our values at Chartwells is being able to, we don't, just making everything from scratch. It's pretty standard in all of our kitchens.
Yeah, and another tip for budget conscious events is always, even if I'm doing something that's gonna be a custom menu which we're gonna talk about next for our investiture. Even when I'm doing a custom menu, I start with the core menu. I start with the core catering menu and then expand upon that. So when we're trying to watch our budgets on a campus, if you start with, something that they offer at a certain price and you just kind of do a twist on that, it'll help you stay within your budgets for your menu and stretch that. And it really helps start the creativity of your catering partnership with your food service team. And so that's also something we like to do, is really stretch that budget. But don't come to them with impossible requests, of course. So, we try to be reasonable. I mean, I'll come and be like, all right, what's this going to cost me? No, we can't do that. So let's scale it down and we work together to get there. So as Chef mentioned and Charisse, we do have next week our investiture for our president. And so it's a series of events taking place next week. And so if you want to go to the next slide, Sam, one of the highlights is we're having a dinner to raise money for our campus. And that is a investiture benefit dinner. And so we work together on this menu to come up with things like we said that the squash that comes from our sustainable garden and things like that. And so do you want to talk to the menu and how much fun we had creating it? And we also, this gave us an opportunity to highlight our president and her preferences and her affinity for Hispanic culture and menu. So Chef, do you want to speak to that?
Absolutely. Monica and I, we worked closely on developing this menu several weeks ago for the president's investiture. Fortunately, we have the pleasure of hosting the chancellor's office and the CSU presidents that will be on campus joining us for this benefit dinner. We created a menu to kind of, and it's I know that we have a very heavy population in our community, and we implemented kind of like a Latin Central American, like a Hispanic menu options into incorporating it into the menu, right? I mean, we have the chili rubbed beef tenderloin, which it includes the different peppers, chili peppers, dried chili peppers from Central and South America. The mojito lime, seared airline chicken breast. It's a small French airline chicken breast with the wing bone. And then there's the vegetarian option, which you can't miss, right? The chile relleno poblano pepper, and it has some Oaxaca cheese in it, and roasted corn, and some Central American flavored quinoa. And then we mixed some manchego cheese, which manchego is probably one of my favorite cheeses. It's probably in the top.
Me too.
Yeah. And so we're nicely melting throughout the potatoes, and then the chili roasted baby carrots. And then to top that all off, there's the tres leches, strawberry tres leches cake, and a coco dulce de leche cake also. And then the appetizers, also small ceviche shooters and some mini elote bites, which
And I will say that like those three appetizers, the starters came from the catering menu. So they do stuffed mushrooms, and it's like, how can we put a twist on this? So again, starting with what they offer and just putting a little twist on it to meet our theme for the menu. Same thing with ceviche shooters, they offer them. So it was like nothing, this isn't all custom, but it sounds very custom. The elote bites, they do other bites. And so we just kind of put a little spin on that as well. And then being budget conscious, we would love to serve filet, but that's not, really budget friendly. And we are being very conscious of budgets. I think everybody is right now. And so doing the medallions gives us that high, the donors that are coming and paying and everybody, they're going to get that filet bite, and it's going to be elevated, and pairing it with a chicken that's a little bit better budget friendly. So by doing that duo, we're able to make it a little bit budget friendly for a elevated event like this. And same thing with the roasted fall squash salad. That's something, a little spin on something they already offer. And so I think that's a really good tip, is to start with what Chartwells has and reinvent it. Be creative and work with your catering team and your chef to work it out. Would you agree?
Agreed.
Agreed. And then yeah, like we talked about it too, and we're using those LTOs, those limited time offers to start ideas and creative. I go there first every time and they make fun of me because I'm probably one of the only ones that uses it, but I really like tying it into what's seasonal and looking at it and what, like they've talked about what we have here in our sustainable garden or things like that. So we're really fortunate to have that at our disposal. So any comments from Danielle or Charisse? No? Okay, let's move on to our next slide, please. And this is again, talking to Danielle or Charisse, but I'm going to tag in one of you. Let's talk about our collaborating and the advantages. Charisse, it's you.
All right, let's do it.
Winner, winner.
Yay.
So, as Chef talked about, can you talk about how you engage with the campus community and our local, maybe like on Wednesdays in the quad, talk about kind of how you collaborate on that and a little bit different, and then you do a teaching kitchen and your things that you do like Taco Tuesday, things like that.
So on Tuesdays, my absolute favorite day is the Taco Tuesday, and I think it's been a huge hit on campus. The very first day we sold out on the meats. Basically, every Tuesday we are selling out on meats. It's extremely popular. Yeah, I think that's our most popular one. And then also with drinks, we do like a mocktail of the sodas, the dirty sodas. And it's a time where students have control of what kind of syrups they want to put in their soda, which has been a huge hit as well. And it's also a time where we can build that relationship with students so we can hear like what they're into, what they're not into, what they want to see coming up. Instead of sending out surveys, we can just talk to them personally.
Absolutely. And inclusive and culturally responsive dining. We kind of touched on that. Chef, can you talk about some of the other partnerships with different orgs on campus that you've done different menus for?
Yeah, we work closely with athletics department. Annually, every winter during crab season, we do the annual crab feed fundraiser for the athletes. And it's a very unique event, right? Because the athletes are actually are scheduled throughout the day to help, right? So each team, whichever it may be, male or female, they're all scheduled to help before, during, and after. I have a team that comes in the mornings on the day of when the crab arrives, because we have to get 2-3 pallets of crabs of crab, and it needs to be basically prepared, right? Divided up into pans so that it's ready to be transported, and it's usually held in our Fitzpatrick Arena. So that's an exciting event that we do with the athletics department, and it gives them an opportunity to raise funds for their year and their scholarships.
And it's also, sorry, Chef, it's also an
No,
opportunity to highlight our students because they serve at that event as well.
yeah, the
And so
students serve.
from personal experience, I've attended the event and I've also hired a student to work in our office because they were our server and the service that they provided was so amazing. I'm like, hey, but it is also a great opportunity. But something I learned that I didn't realize, because where we live in the Central Valley, crab feeds they don't happen everywhere. So it's something that's really popular here. We have a season in the
Yes.
Central Valley where we do crab feeds and you just go from one to the next, but it's kind of a regional thing.
Exactly, and each one of them they're all very different too, depending on where it is. I mean, I myself go personally to the one in Turlock at the Portuguese Pentecost Center. That's probably, and I mean that line, it's a 2-hour line, but it's worth every minute. But they're all very different, right? Crab season runs from the beginning of January to the end of March, and throughout that time, throughout our county and neighboring counties, there are fundraising crab feeds.
Yeah, a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it.
It's
It's a great
worth it.
event. Great event.
Another event that we host monthly would be our monthly teaching kitchens, and it's an opportunity get the students to kind of engage in preparing food, and kind of gives them an opportunity to kind of learn to prepare something on their own, right? Whether it be in their dorms or at home, or in their suites. A lot of our students in their suites, they have kitchens with stoves, and so we do it on a monthly basis. We do a teaching demonstration outside during Wednesdays, during our Warrior Wednesday hours, and it just really gets the students to engage and be hands-on with just learning something new, with a new recipe, or learning about, some of our new ingredients that we're implementing into our menus.
And to
Yeah,
kind of,
and then a little, oh, go
oops,
ahead,
sorry.
Therese.
And to kind of go off with that, last Wednesday we did a fruit display. We had watermelon, we had mango, and then I can't remember the third one, but it was watermelon, mango, and then we also had tahini, and the students were able to just serve up their own cups as well. And then we were able to talk about, our boost, and we were able to talk about catering if they're aware of catering. So that interaction as well.
Right,
Yeah,
Boost
and you
is
can
kind of
even,
like a Grubhub or like a DoorDash, but it's like not without the delivery, basically. But you can order in advance and pick up at one of your retail locations on campus.
It was pineapple,
Pineapple,
watermelon, mango, and pineapple.
that's right.
yeah, I use Boost all the time. It's really creative. But something for our event planners, like if you don't do student events, take one of those ideas and apply it to a fundraising event. Like
Mhm.
something I've done here before we had this catering team is we did a fundraiser where we did a food demonstration and wine pairing. So our chef worked with, we're the home of Gallo Winery here in the Central Valley, and they're generous in donating wine to our campus. And we got one of their wine experts to come in and pair wine with our chef and do a cooking demonstration and enjoy the food and the wine as we went through. So that was something that was really great. And even the fruit with the tahini, something we could do for, employee appreciation events or something like that. So really give some fun aspect to that, those type of events that we do. And so let's go ahead and move on to the next portion of our day, and let's open it up for questions from our guests in the audience. Does anybody have any questions for us? No pressure. But if there's something that triggered a question, or do you have ideas, you have fresh ideas that are trending on your campus that you want to share, if you raise your hand or just turn your camera on, we'll be happy to take those. There's a question in the chat from Phyllis from Monterey Bay. Are brunches, late night stacks, or non-traditional meal times being more common this fall? So Angelo or the Chartwells team from Stan State, have you seen those trends?
You want to talk?
I can answer some of this too, because we started to pull kind of specific meal times. For our campus, we're seeing more of the evening late night kind of options that are taking a good spike. I think that also just aligns with school schedules. We're seeing less and less classes on Fridays as well. And so I think that that's just aligning with a lot of the planning for some of the student groups. So we are seeing an increase. I wouldn't say during the brunch and lunch period. That typically has always been kind of peak so far, and I'm not noticing huge peaks right now, but definitely those evening, particularly for student groups.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for that question. So another question would be, are you guys working? How do you see it? How easy is it to create scalable menu options for events? And especially with the events we have next week, when your RSVPs are fluctuating or last minute changes, how do we work as a team to work through those pains that we have for every event, where the head count deadlines and the fluctuation of last minute RSVPs? How do we do that? Oh, we don't do it?
All right, I think it was who's going to answer. I'll probably defer to Chef Edwin and Carice more on the operational side. Yeah.
I think it's a challenge every campus has, and of course, we're trying to be respectful of deadlines.
Say that one more time,
orders.
Monica.
So how do we, like for next week, we have a benefit dinner that's a fundraising dinner for
I can't. I
200.
couldn't hear you very good.
Oh, sorry, Chef. Can you hear me now?
Sorry?
How about now?
I'm sorry. My volume. Okay. Now, go ahead.
Okay, so for something like the benefit dinner next week, when we have multiple events going on with different RSVP deadlines and different head counts, and they're fluctuating and changing, how do we, what would be helpful for you as the catering team, for us as the campus to give you when we come to these events that have deadlines and RSVPs that seem to fluctuate, the guest counts changing, things like that. Like it's a struggle for everybody.
Right. And at the end of the day, regardless of what those deadlines may be, I mean, it happens often, right? Last minute additions and changes. That's just the way it goes. That's the business that we're in, and we accommodate. I mean, we figure it out one way or another. We'll figure it out. Behind closed doors, it might be a little different how it's figured out, but no one will ever realize the difference of how it was figured out and how we executed the events. There are right deadlines from time to time. We have to, depending on how grand the event is and what on the scale that it is, right? I mean, we have to place orders ahead of time depending on what the menu options are, right? I mean, some things take a little longer than others. So yeah, but I mean, but it's our job to make sure that we know, and as far as operationally, like to be prepared for anything, right? We actually have our hands full next week with investiture, and I have 3 visiting chefs coming from nearby campuses, Monterey Bay, San Jose, and then CSUN. So they're coming to help us out with operations for those 2-3 days, and so that's a great deal of support for me and my team, and so one way or another, like Chartwell, it's very resourceful. That's what I've learned over the years. Very resourceful, and the tools are there, the resources are always available, the support is always there. So we and it all rolls into our clients and our relationships. One way or another, we'll figure it out.
And I can say that one of my philosophies in the client relationship between Chartwells and I is that mistakes will happen, right? Mistakes will happen in real time, whether it's on my side, not, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you there's a dietary restriction, or whether it's on the Chartwell side. One time, one of the first events we had together, Chef, it was a brunch and the potatoes did not turn out how you like them. And I really respected you from the start because you're like, I can't serve this. The quality of this product, I can't put my name on it. I don't want to represent the university. And so we pivoted, we changed the program, and we got excellent remarks on the food. And you did the right thing by holding that food until it was to your standards. And I respected you from the beginning, but we're on the same team. We have to work together. It was the right decision, and we pivot. And the same thing, like for the guest experience, like if something happens in the kitchen or the timeline gets off track for whatever reason, if they don't know about it, it didn't happen, right? We can talk about it after behind closed doors, but really just keeping that game face on and remembering that it's all about the guest experience. And if they don't know something's not happening according to plan, then we did our jobs and we'll fix it and we'll move on. And one of the things we always talk about is I hear stories, and they've heard stories as they came onto the campus new 20 years ago, this happened in an event. And as an event professional on your campus, we do go through catering staff as we go through staff on campus, and just let those things go and start fresh every time you have an opportunity to create a new relationship with your team as we get new members of our team. But we have a new question from the guest, from one of our attendees. So how do you serve smoothies for a large group? What are the logistics for serving a ramen bar? Is there a chef attendant? Are noodles replenished, prepared on site? So take it from there.
As for the ramen bar, so I mean, in our in our campuses, our dining commons, which are all you care to enjoy dining venues, right? So it's just kind of where our residential dining takes place. At our various stations, one of those stations, we would do a takeover, and it would be a ramen bar with all of the ingredients, and we'd make the broth, and we'd have the noodles. When I've done it here at Stan, I do have a chef attendant there, and they'll prepare the bowls with the noodles for the students, and then the student just picks it up and kind of adds all of their ingredients and toppings to it. It's probably usually how like it's worked for us in the past. Every does it differently. The noodles are replenished, and then there is extra noodles, and there's variety of toppings for the students to choose from. Right, they're in the hot wells, and then there's the cold ingredients.
Yeah, I've done it. We did it for an alumni event a couple of years ago when our president was leaving. It was an alumni out in the quad. We did an event and it was really nice. It was fun. So we have one more question, then we'll kind of wrap up for the day. What do you, from the Chartwells perspective, what do you wish campus event planners understood better to help with the catering logistics and working together as a team?
I don't have I don't have like complaints, to be honest. I'm pretty grateful for the working relationship I have with university advancement and events here. And I think that here at Stan, like that I think that events and advancement they have a really thorough understanding of operations, and they understand like what limitations are. So do I wish campus event planners understood better? Nothing. They all know pretty well.
And I think from
Angela?
CSU&B, yeah, from CSU&B perspective, and I think that the challenging thing that we deal with collaboratively is budget, and that's probably the hot topic that we receive all the time. But our hosts and our clients understand like our costs are raising, and particularly things like labor and food costs and sourcing and things like that. And so our clients understand that that is a reality. But we've been able to work through collaborative ways of how can we still address this. We've been very transparent of things like, what does pricing involve? And, that labor piece is a really, really, really big piece. But I will say that our collaborations with our host have already been pretty fantastic. For some of them that maybe don't yet understand those basics, we have some pretty good tenured people here on campus, so it seems like here we have a good solid piece. Yeah.
Excellent. So Sam, if you want to take us to our next slide, that would be amazing.
Sweet.
Angela?
Yeah, no, and again, I just want to say an overall thank you from again a Chartwells perspective, but also from a dining provider. It's an absolute pleasure, one, to be able to speak to everyone. Again, I've had the pleasure of working with Phyllis here on our campus, and again with our direct catering team. It is a team effort. I say this a lot, particularly for some of our events or whatnot, that the university, our clients are the experts of this particular area of the clientele that is in this area, especially from a culture perspective. Like our clients are the cultural experts, and we really require this partnership to help guide our efforts as well. And we really value this partnership, and it really helps us be successful. We've been able to build a really solid program here at CSU&B over the years. Our contract started right in the heart of COVID, so again, it's a big piece. And our client here in this university has supported us all the way through, and we're seeing some really great strides here. And I'm hearing great stories also from some of our other CSU partners as well. So again, it's an absolute pleasure. We are really dedicated to this. I'm very passionate. Again, I hear great stories also of Chef Edwin up there and the team. I haven't visited y'all's campus yet, but it will come soon. No, it's an
Come on
absolute.
over.
Very
Well,
nice.
I just want to say again, thank you for everyone today. Thank you to our colleagues here at Chartwells on Stan State for presenting with us, and Angelo from Monterey Bay. And for those of you that would like to review the presentation, or if you weren't able to join us, the session was being recorded today, and it will be available with our CSU-UC EPN YouTube channel and intranet. Give us about 48 hours to get that posted, and come join us next month. Our topic for the October 23rd will be sustainability, green campus initiative. So keep your eye out for an email that will have a link to register, and we look forward to seeing you all next month. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.